In the grand halls of the Celestial Assembly, where the fates of entire star systems were decided, a growing disquiet pervaded the air. For millennia, the Assembly had presided over peace and order in the galaxy, confident in their ability to contain any potential threat. Yet now, an unforeseen challenge had emerged, one that many of the delegates refused to acknowledge. The Council had gathered in response to troubling reports from the edge of explored space. Scouts had encountered a species known as humans. They were small in number, technologically underdeveloped, but their potential was terrifying. Ambassador Zelix, a member of the distinguished Luthian species, stood before the gathered assembly, her voice clear and commanding as she recounted the discovery. "Humans," she began, her gaze sweeping the room, "are unlike anything we have encountered before. They are unyielding, adaptive, and dangerous. Though their technology lags behind ours, they have the capacity to evolve faster than we anticipate. In every scenario we have simulated, they emerge victorious, regardless of the odds stacked against them." The delegates listened, but their expressions betrayed their skepticism. Among the doubters was Vithan, an elder of the Iridian race, known for their towering intellect and technological superiority. He leaned back in his seat, a smirk playing across his lips. "Ambassador Zelix," he said, his tone dripping with condescension, "you exaggerate. These humans, primitive as they are, pose no real threat to the greater galaxy. They are insignificant, mere children in the cosmic order." Zelix's eyes narrowed, though she maintained her composure. "Do not be so quick to dismiss them, Elder Vithan. We've observed their capacity for resilience. They are a species that thrives on adversity. In every conflict they face, they learn, adapt, and improve. If we ignore this threat now, we will suffer the consequences." Despite her impassioned plea, the Assembly remained divided. Some members, like Vithan, saw humanity as little more than a curiosity, an upstart species destined to fail. Others, however, saw the truth in Zelix's words. But the voices of caution were drowned out by the arrogance of those who believed in their own invincibility. While the Assembly debated, a different story was unfolding on the far reaches of the galaxy. Commander Darian, a human officer stationed on the edge of known space, found himself locked in a battle for survival. His fleet was small, his resources limited, but his determination was boundless. They were engaged in a relentless war with the Zarnax, a vicious, war-hardened species known for their brutality. Darian stood on the command deck of his ship, watching as the enemy fleet closed in. His crew was weary, their faces etched with exhaustion, but their spirits were unbroken. They fought not just for their lives, but for their home, Earth, the cradle of humanity. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Darian commanded, his voice steady despite the tension that gripped him. "We can't let them break through." The Zarnax were relentless, their ships larger and more advanced, but Darian and his crew had faced worse. They had learned the art of guerrilla warfare, striking hard and fast, using the very weaknesses of their opponents against them. They had honed their tactics to perfection, turning the tide of battle in their favor time and time again. Back in the Assembly, the debate raged on. Zelix watched with growing frustration as Vithan and his supporters dismissed the warnings. She knew what was coming. The Assembly's arrogance would be their downfall, and the galaxy would pay the price for their hubris. Weeks passed, and the reports from the front lines grew more dire. The humans had not only survived, they had triumphed. Their ability to innovate, to fight against overwhelming odds, had shocked even the most seasoned warriors in the galaxy. The Zarnax, once feared across the stars, had been pushed back, their fleets decimated by the very species the Assembly had written off as insignificant. It was only then, as the ashes of countless battles settled, that the Assembly began to understand the gravity of their mistake. By the time the surviving Zarnax limped back to their home systems, the message was clear: humanity was not to be underestimated. However, the repercussions of the Assembly's ignorance were just beginning to unfold. Ambassador Zelix, haunted by the Assembly's hubris, took it upon herself to learn more about these extraordinary humans. She initiated clandestine missions to Earth, hoping to understand the essence of their resilience and adaptability. On Earth, Commander Darian and his crew were celebrated as heroes. Parades lined the streets, and accolades were showered upon them. Yet beneath the surface of joy and relief, a sense of unease lingered. The war had left deep scars, families torn apart, cities in ruins, and an unshakable awareness of the vast, hostile universe. Darian, though revered, found himself grappling with the weight of his experiences. One night, under the starlit sky of a rebuilt New York City, he confided in his closest friend and fellow officer, Lieutenant Morgan. "We fought with everything we had, Morgan. We won, but at what cost? The galaxy knows of us now. They will come." Morgan, her eyes reflecting the same haunting questions, nodded solemnly. "And we will be ready, Darian. We must ensure our survival, just as we always have." Meanwhile, in the Celestial Assembly, the tides of opinion began to shift. Vithan, previously dismissive of the human threat, found himself increasingly isolated. News of humanity's triumph spread like wildfire, challenging the very foundations of the Assembly's arrogance. Debates grew fiercer, and factions within the Assembly became more pronounced. Ambassador Zelix continued her efforts, covertly communicating with key human leaders. She understood that an alliance, though unprecedented, might be the galaxy's only hope. Her communications were met with a mix of intrigue and suspicion, but gradually, trust began to form. Secret meetings were held, strategies were discussed, and a fragile alliance was born. On the fringes of the galaxy, remnants of the Zarnak fleet regrouped. Their defeat at the hands of humans had left them seething with a thirst for revenge. They sought new alliances with other hostile species, pooling resources and knowledge to launch a counterattack. The galaxy teetered on the brink of a new and even more devastating conflict. Commander Darian, now a key figure in the Human Assembly Alliance, worked tirelessly to prepare for the impending threat. Earth's defense systems were bolstered, and advanced technologies were shared between humans and their new allies. The unity forged in the face of mutual annihilation created a force unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. Yet, as the alliance grew stronger, so did the opposition. Within the Assembly, dissenters plotted in the shadows, unwilling to accept humanity's rising influence. Vithan, embittered and vengeful, aligned himself with the Zarnak and other dissident factions. He believed that only through the complete eradication of humanity could the natural order be restored. The stage was set for a colossal confrontation. On a cold, distant planet known as Pharos, the allied forces of humans and the Assembly prepared for an inevitable clash with the Zarnak coalition. Tension hung heavy in the air, each side aware that the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. As the first rays of the Pharos sun crept over the horizon, the silence was shattered by the thunderous roar of engines. The battle that ensued was unlike any before, a symphony of destruction, bravery, and sacrifice. Commander Darian led the charge, his strategic brilliance and unwavering resolve turning the tide in favor of the Alliance. Amidst the chaos, Darian and Vythan faced each other in a final, fateful confrontation. The elder Iridian, driven by his obsession to destroy humanity, underestimated the tenacity and ingenuity of his opponent. Darian, fueled by the collective will of his species and their allies, emerged victorious. The Battle of Pharos marked a turning point in galactic history. The Zarnak coalition was defeated, and the dissenters within the Assembly were exposed and neutralized. The cost was immense, but the victory solidified humanity's place among the stars. In the aftermath, a new era of cooperation and understanding began to take shape. The Celestial Assembly, humbled and transformed, recognized the value of unity in diversity. Humanity, once seen as a threat, now stood as a beacon of hope and resilience. Commander Darian, though scarred by the trials he had faced, found solace in the knowledge that his efforts had forged a brighter future for all species. Under the banner of the Assembly, the galaxy embarked on a journey of renewal, guided by the hard-earned wisdom that had emerged from the crucible of conflict. The Assembly's warning about humans had been ignored, and the universe had paid the price. But in the end, the lesson learned had paved the way for a more united and prosperous cosmos.